Interestingly, you are hitting at an area which is also something that you would love to get into, is policy. So if I need to ask you, what are the top 5 policy changes you will initiate if you had the power to do it? As far as hepatitis is concerned, what would be your response?
Right. So first is I would try to spend my money into increasing the spread of knowledge. It's like the knowledge is first awareness, right? You will know you should not do this or that unless you're aware you wouldn't. So step number 1 is awareness, and that awareness is reaching to the masses on increasing, whether I use the media which is in the radio or the TV, these are the media. So that would be for the public, and for the doctors I would have some softwares or whatever designed for them for the basic education, right? And children are the best way to reach. So whenever I started, like for years I do talks in schools. I go to the government girls schools, I go to colleges, I go to DPS, I go to Lords Valley, I go to APJ, I go to so many other schools and try to give them awareness talks on hepatitis B and C. And the children love it. They just have so many doubts, and that's number 1. Like awareness, so that I would do. Second step I would like to do is the work on the vaccination part. Third is I would try to get into a PPP model, where the government needs to be in a PPP model with the private sectors, because it's not possible for the government to do it and it's not possible for the private to do it. And it's like health is a sector where 70% is in the private and 30% is in the public, and the insurances and all are coming. So and there have been a lot of talks about putting hepatitis C into insurance. Why shouldn't they get it? Because you got it accidentally through a razor, so why should not you be? It's like an accident for you too. So getting those insurances, right now there are a lot of insurance companies which do not include hepatitis, which is wrong. So looking into that policy of the insurance and the PPP models is there. In a small amount I would like to spend on research.
Okay.
So that's how would be my 5 policies where I would like to judiciously use my
Ma'am,
money.
interestingly, you started off by distinctly differentiating jaundice and hepatitis. So I'm being pushed to ask this question to you. What are the top 5 liver ailments in India?
Well, you mean in children or in adults?
Maybe both.
I think I would like to separate it.
Yeah.
Now in children, it's different from the adults, and in the adults the top 5 ailments would be the hepatitis B and C is among the top, alcoholic liver disease, fatty liver disease. So till now, what was I talking? I was talking of all preventable.
Right.
So I was talking about lifestyle. So fatty liver disease or hepatitis B and C and alcoholic liver disease, these are among the top, and the rest then comes the biliary, the cancers and all that stuff. And when it comes to the children, we have the diseases. We don't see hepatitis B and C giving a lot of burden, which I told you, because the burden comes later on, but though it starts in childhood. So if I can see how to prevent from the mother to the child, which I said I'm going to use my money into awareness.
Right.
That is what I mean. What are the 5 objectives in my awareness about mode of spread?
Right.
That needs to be going everywhere. So that how to take care of it. And then the metabolic liver disease and congenital liver disease.
Right.
So what happens is you're born with something anatomically defective. So like biliary atresia, where your ducts from the liver to the intestine is not formed, or you have one chemical locha, as rightly put in that movie Munabai. So that chemical locha, that means a chemical reaction or a gene, something going wrong in your liver. So that gives rise to the metabolic and the genetic liver disease. So people get surprised that you're doing liver transplants. How do children need liver transplants? Well, of course children need liver transplants because these are the diseases. So, and then comes the liver failure. And in the liver failure, hepatitis A is one of the common cause of liver failure which can be prevented, and you have a vaccine for hepatitis A. Why did I not talk about the vaccine? Because the vaccine was for hepatitis A is expensive. And since, it's like you have to individualize it. Now, if I can afford it, so that's how I would like to give my child. But there's somebody who may not be able to afford it. So it gets very difficult for the government to say that I'm going to do universal hepatitis A vaccination. But maybe, a decade later we might reach there. Right now we're talking about B. And so what can I do about A? About A, I can ensure safe water.
True.
So if I can look into the water and this thing, I can prevent it. Sadly, 1 in 1,000 children or 1 in 100 adolescents and adults who acquire hepatitis A get into liver failure. And liver failure means you need to be in the best of centers. It's a lot of money in the ICU that you need to spend. And despite the best measures, we can say 50% and 50% need a transplant.
Right.
So 1 in 100 to 1,000 of hepatitis A can end up with liver failure, which we are not able to scare people because we think that the government wants to utilize the money into malaria or dengue, and why not? So that way I cannot talk about how the government needs to be, utilizing the really experts there who have, the brains, and they have a committee, the people who are well educated, those people will guide them into that.